Welcome back to Mean Streets, a podcast where we investigate the best, worst, and forgotten movies of film noir and more. I am Luke Deckard.
And I am Matthew Booth.
And we are your cinematic sleuths, and it's time to crack another case. An old case. A 30-year-old case. Proper old case.
Yeah,
right,
a
Matt?
cold case. A cold case.
I mean, technically 90% of our cases are cold, but, you know.
I suppose. But this is its 30th. It's 30th anniversary. So
indeed, 30th anniversary.
Because today we are looking at 1995's Seven, starring, as everybody knows, Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, and Kevin Spacey. Written by Andrew Kevin Walker and directed by David Fincher, no less. The IMDb logline is: two detectives, a rookie and a veteran, hunt a serial killer who uses the 7 deadly sins as his motives. Not a bad summary for this particular.
Not a bad.
film.
No, that's what happens. That's
pretty much what it says on the tin, I think.
Indeed. Seven. Do you?
Seven.
I mean, it came out in 1995. I was 8. So I did not see this in cinemas.
I was 21.
There you go.
I did see this, I remember this vividly. I went to see this in the cinema.
What was that experience like?
It was pretty good, I have to say. There was a fair bit of hype. Well, back in the 90s, there wasn't hype like there is now, because wasn't much of an internet, if any. But you'd see reviews and you'd see magazine articles about this grim film that had been released, and it sold pretty much on Brad Pitt's name because he was massive then, and it just sounded to me as a crime fiction fan, it sounded irresistible. A serial killer using the 7 deadly sins sounded irresistible, so I was straight down to the cinema to see this.
Yeah, and
it was pretty grim. It was obviously it's dark in the cinema, and this is a dark film all round.
Yes.
But there's one scene in particular where there was a collective gasp and scream.
Yes.
I won't mention it now because we're bound to touch on it, but I think everyone can guess which one it is.
What's in the scene?
Yeah, it involves a lot of magic trees.
Yes.
Air freshness. But yeah, I remember going to see it and couldn't wait to see it again. I might even have gone a second time, which is very rare for me. But I remember that first visit. It was something else. I don't know if that's an issue of being in the right place at the right time for a film like this, but
yeah,
nevertheless, I loved it. Yeah, I had a great time.
I mean, I would say as noirs go, is this not the bleakest of noir film in general?
Well,
encompassing all noir, not just classic noir, but like all noir, neo noir, classic noir. Is this maybe the grimmest, nastiest? Meanest?
If it isn't, it's well up there.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a grim film.
Yeah, I mean, because I can think of mean films. Some that we've covered have been mean films, but this is just.
I'll say I had much more of a dark reaction to this.
Yeah,
this might be heresy. This, but I had much more of a dark reaction to this film than I did to Silence of the Lambs a few years earlier. I really did. This got under my skin much more than the Silence of the Lambs, which I just thought was great fun from start to finish.
Yes. Yeah.
This really is there are particular bits of this that, like a lot of it is left to your imagination, and what that imagination does is horrendous. But we'll come on to those.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's only, 3 or 4 years after Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah.
And I think this is much more horrific.
Yeah.
In every way.
Yeah. It's like you said, there is a Jaws quality to it where there is. This is going to sound kind of funny. I'm going to say there's less is more, even though we do get a lot of grotesque scenes and corpses that are investigated,
Mhm.
but as you say, we don't see how they die, and that imagery that sparks your imagination when you find out how they have died or what the mutilations have been. The idea of that is so greater than anything they could have put
Yeah.
to film.
Yeah, absolutely. And the psychopathy of it, when you realize what it's taken and the time that John Doe has taken over this enterprise,
Yes.
I find that truly chilling.
Yes.
Far more so than I find Hannibal Lecter, I have to say.
Yes.
In all his guises.
Yeah, and I think this is. I suppose there's a stark difference between John Doe and someone like Hannibal Lecter, who is, he's an intelligent man. He's an educated man, though John Doe clearly has some, intelligence, has some, they assume some wealth behind him. But he is also on the I guess on the mental health scale, whatever afflictions he has are push him into a different category of psychopath serial killers
Definitely.
than what Hannibal Lecter is, despite Hannibal Lecter being a cannibal.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think there's certainly the way that Anthony Hopkins plays Hannibal Lecter. There is an uncomfortable pleasure about him.
Yes, there's a likability. There's a likability.
That's the word. Yeah, I sometimes sort of laugh along with Hannibal Lecter.
Yes.
And you cheer him on. Essentially, you cheer him on.
Yes.
When he's at his best. I don't think you can laugh at anything John Doe does or says.
No.
And I just find that all the more chilling. Really.
Yes.
But we're not comparing
a perfect creep played by a perfectly creepy actor.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, in hindsight, it's brilliant casting.
But, well, I mean, we the same thing back when we were talking about LA Confidential and stuff. It's sort of, his nasty roles, his compromising roles they might be a little bit close to home.
Yeah, maybe.
There we are. Well, I guess we can go behind the scenes and talk about how this thing got made, because I find some of this stuff really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, this, isn't it?
Yeah. So it cost 33 to 34 million to make and made an exceptional return of 327.3 million.
Yeah, as my granddad used to say, it made a few bob.
It did. Now, I mean, it's so fascinating to think about 30 years ago, a film like this swept the box office. Yeah. And I know we bring this up quite a bit when we have these big hitters come on and we compare them to what's happening today. But like nowadays, David Fincher is relegated to Netflix.
Yeah, absolutely, quite.
And it's like, damn, this guy is over on Netflix doing stuff I've not even seen because I don't care. Like I've seen episodes of the FBI show. What was it called? I can't remember what it's called now, but the FBI profiling show that he was behind. Shows you how much it sticks in my head. I've not seen The Killer yet with Michael Fassbender.
No, I've not seen that yet.
I want to. I mean, there was a time when that was coming out and we were early days into the podcast. Like, oh, should we do it? But I have an aversion to Netflix and certain streaming originals that they don't thrill me like like what they did, say, back in 2015, 16, 17. They've dipped in quality immensely, and I just find myself not overly interested in particularly Netflix originals anymore.
I know exactly what you mean.
So it's sad, 327 million on this incredibly dark and grim movie that swept the world, and now Fincher's just relegated to Netflix, and which gives you about a day of marketing, or not day of marketing, but a day of buzz. The film comes out on a day, and then by the next day, the people who are going to see it have seen it, and then you're done.
Yeah. I mean, this is the total opposite, isn't it? This was, people flocked to see this.
Yes.
As those figures show.
Yeah.
You know, and again, Zodiac's one of my favorite films, and
Same.
it's sort of in a similar camp to this.
Yes.
You know, the darkness of it and the tone of it and all. You know, nowhere near as horrendous as this, but
Yes.
that Zodiac's creepiness comes from its reality for me.
Yes. Yes.
Whereas this is obviously purely fictional, but
Yeah.
But it's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame that Fincher is like you say relegated, if that's the right word. When there are lesser directors that are doing massive stuff.
Yes. Well,
these
I
days.
mean, when it comes to sometimes I feel like when we say the lesser directors, we're talking about a lot of the comic book stuff, and a lot of the comic book directors at the moment are just glorified babysitters doing what the big producers are telling them to do rather than being original. Which is very different to what comic book movies were like in the early 2000s. But just to touch on some of Fincher's filmography, like what he has done. I mean, he's known for obviously from Seven. He did Fight Club, Zodiac, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which I thought was quite good.
I thought it was quite good. I thought it was pretty good.
And then he also did Gone Girl. And Gone Girl was only in 2014. So 11 years ago, he was still capable of, and Gone Girl was a huge film, not one of my favorites
by
any stretch. But I don't like the book either. I think
I don't like the book either.
The book is very sort of that's when that kind of domestic noir was growing in the publishing industry. This they kind of want these ridiculously twisty turny unputdownable books. And that's what Gone Girl is. But needless to say, Gone Girl got a huge reception,
but it was a phenomenon. It was a phenomenon. So
so even 11 years ago, he was still cracking out some stuff that was big cinematic buzzes. And again, now it's just Netflix.
No, it's Netflix. yeah, absolutely.
It's a bit of a bummer. But I mean, I think Fincher just has a cool style. It's all of his films. When you think of a Fincher film, it's dark, it's gloomy. The characters are all kind of terrible people.
Yeah.
Even in Zodiac, where it's true crime, like he finds the worst elements of all of these figures
of all of them,
and focuses on those. And just really, he has a very good sense of bringing out the nastiness of people to varying degrees, right? Like Mills, Brad Pitt's character in this, is in some ways he is a nasty kind of guy.
Nasty,
but it's
a pain in the ass.
But it's subtle. In some of his nastiness is subtle, and it comes out through his dialogue that is very quick. And if you're not fully paying attention, you're not really catching that he is also kind of a bad guy. Or like Morgan Freeman Somerset, who comes across as this almost saintly figure, but when he has a certain conversation, which we'll talk about when we get into the story, you're like, oh shit, you are also a piece of shit.
yeah, that's right. It's just a question of how big a piece of shit you are.
Yeah.
And of all of them, Somerset is the smallest piece of shit for me.
Definitely.
But
so I guess some context is useful, because this is his kind of second big film. He had done Alien 3 right before this in 1992. That was his debut film, and to say it was a disaster is probably an understatement.
Very much so.
It's a complicated mess. Alien 3. It's not that it's that Fincher was the wrong man for that job. It's just that had a lot of studio interference.
Well, it's the old story.
Yes, but also elements of the story that were there I don't quite like. I kind of don't like the Ripley is the only one who survives, and Newt and whatever his face, Michael Biehn, dies in the pod. I just think what an undercut of Alien 2, where Alien 1 and Aliens flow very nicely and keep building, and then we just go right into Fincher's classic everything is shit and everyone is shit. And it's definitely a different flair for an alien movie for sure. Because even Ripley just feels a bit gross in that.
Yeah.
But needless to say, that was not the hit that anyone was expecting, because it wasn't a hit. It was a massive
It wasn't a hit. No, it was a total disaster.
I should have said it was not the bomb that everyone was expecting. It didn't. No one expected it to bomb that way.
There was a lot of studio interference in it, though, which
yes,
and I think that got to him. I think that got to Fincher a little bit because he was almost ready to quit one in. So I'm not doing another film.
Yes. So the script was written, like I said, by Andrew Kevin Walker, who apparently wrote it while he was living in New York City and frustrated with life and wanted to tell a dark story. And often when you're in some of your darker states, you can really tell a good dark story. Not happy people don't always thrive when writing dark stuff.
No.
Unless you're mining a dark past, that is, things that
and if you're in a dark place as a writer, it's very, very therapeutic to write something dark and get all that frustration out and take it out on other people who happen to be fictional.
Yes.
And and Walker said, if he wasn't living in New York, he'd never have written it. He wouldn't have written Seven. So I can understand that.
Yes.
There are times when you've been living wherever you're living, and it's just everything in your life is grim.
Yes.
And what you write is grim, and it makes you feel better.
Yes, because if you think about it, he's probably writing this. I mean, this film's 1997. He wrote this in the early 90s. When I think of early 90s New York, just like cinematic portrayals of 90s New York, it's grim, it's dirty, it's full of graffiti. There's gangs and there's drug addicts and there's hookers and all. That's like the version of New York that I see.
Yeah, like an average episode of Edward Woodward's Equalizer, because that's what showed that showed almost every American city he was in as being like that.
Yes.
So
yes. So I can see why, how, especially if you're living in a big city and if you don't have money, it is even more grim. I mean, we live in London. It's wonderful. I love it. Not saying we have money, but we don't live on a council estate. You know what I mean? But you live in London, you live on a council estate. That's a very different version of London that someone is living. That is one that is a very depressing,
I think that's true for any major city.
Definitely.
I live in Manchester, and it's certainly true in Manchester.
Yes.
Certainly true in Manchester.
You with your street preachers on the high streets and your hobos doing drug deals right in the middle of Piccadilly Gardens.
Absolutely, yeah. I remember the days when Piccadilly Gardens was quite an okay place to go. It was never nice. But you used to be able to get from one end to the other, without harm.
Yes.
or the threat of it, But
yes. Well, I mean, I did my undergrad in Manchester, right? So I did my undergrad in 2008 to 2011. I went and revisited Manchester like a year ago, and I was like, oh man, this feels a bit. Earlier this year, I went and visited Manchester. I think it was. It was last year. Sorry, and I was surprised. I was like, oh, this feels a bit like it's gone downhill a little bit more since I've been here.
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, no, it's I think what Walker captured in his script is that angst and that oppressive feeling of what it's like to be somewhere that is that is mean, and mean streets. Cities chew people up and spit them out. Look at every Raymond Chandler novel. How many Midwesterners come into LA and are stabbed with knife, ice picks.
Ice picks. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he didn't call them mean streets because they were,
to be cool,
lined with roses, did he?
No. No.
And I think one of the things I like about the city is nameless, isn't it? He never names it, and I think that's a great touch. Smart move. Because I think the impression he gives is that what you see is what he sees out of his window of his apartment when he walks out of the apartment building and goes to whatever job he's going to. that is what he sees, what he presents on the screen, and
It's Poisonville.
Exactly, and the genius of not naming it is that can apply to whatever city you live in.
Yeah.
He isn't in New York, Edinburgh, London. He's in wherever you need it to be. And I think that's a masterstroke for something so simple,
Yes. So New Line Cinema bought the script, and but they rejected the original ending, which is the what's in the box ending. They wanted John Doe to be arrested. They wanted that very typical Hollywood ending where the justice is served, and I understand that. I get that. That would have also been a satisfying conclusion to this story if they catch the serial killer. But I think it misses the point of the theme of this, and
Definitely.
and now so back to Fincher. The whole reason he even got involved with this is because New Line sent him the script, but they sent him the wrong version. They sent him the original what's in the box version.
One. Yeah.
And he read that and he was like, holy effing shit. This is I want to do this. He was hooked on it, and and was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then they were like, oh no, it's not that ending. It's a different ending. I was like, no. I'm gonna do this ending. And it was kind of a double whammy, I guess, because it was you had Fincher was saying, I'll do it, but with this, but also Brad Pitt was already attached to the project. And he was like, yeah, I'm doing that ending.
Yeah, exactly.
And that kind of double hitter. And then I think Morgan Freeman was also involved in this. They were like, no, this is the version we're doing. If we don't do this, we're walking.
We're walking.
And there were
all credit.
New Line were like, okay, shit, I guess we're going to do it.
And all credit to him.
Yes.
I mean, the ending is as noir as you can get. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it more. But the ending is as and the alternative ending isn't.
Yes. No. Not at all. Not at all. But I think what also makes this film really stand out, not just the narrative of it, but also the way the narrative and the visuals are married together. And Fincher worked with Darius Khondji, a French-Iranian cinematographer, who created this look that's called rotten noir that absolutely describes perfectly what this is. I mean, every set piece in this, every bit of scenery is decayed, it's degenerated, it's it's vile, it's grimy,
it's
everything
sleazy.
is in a permanent state of just gross decay, and
decay,
it's dark.
You can almost smell it, can't you? You can almost smell how unpleasant that city is.
Yes.
I get the impression the drains stink, know, and every room they walk into is foul, you know. And well, at one bit he says, doesn't he? Mills says something like, I've got shit and piss and vomit and everything, all over the place. And you think, this is this is a grim old place. This.
Yes. So I mean, even with it's very, in terms of the noir sense. I mean, it's in color, but there's also very dark, deep shadows, and trickery, visual trickery that they've done to play with the actual film. So there's they invented a sort of technique called the bleach bypass, which is this sort of process that apparently removes silver image from during the color development of the film, right? That essentially gives it low color, high contrast, and sort of a dirty highlight. So it's very grainy, and you see this all throughout this film. It is a very just nasty, dirty looking film, just from every aspect, from the set pieces to the actual film. They've done everything they could to just give it this deteriorated feel.
Sleazy feel. Because even when it's in what should be full color. So when Somerset goes to the Mills apartment for dinner, that really should be quite a homely scene. But even that, all the colors in it are dirty and dank and muted.
Yes.
And it is in color, but it might as well not be.
Yes.
Because there's loads of scenes where the only light you get are from the torches.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
which I love. I love all that sort of stuff, and yes, it's in color, but you could easily make this in black and white and not lose anything because
No.
the color doesn't intrude on anything. It's almost unnoticeable that it's in color.
Yes. Except for the library scene, which I absolutely love the library scene where Somerset
goes to
Yes, and you have all those green lamps.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful shot.
I love that scene. I love those lamps.
Yeah,
I love that scene. I
love it when that the bloke says, "How's this for culture?" and puts there on a G-string on, and that plays throughout that quite long scene.
Yes,
this is something else this film does great. It isn't afraid to take its time.
Yes.
When it's necessary.
Yes,
beautiful stuff.
There are a lot of scenes that are given time to breathe. In a way that doesn't feel like it's that interesting balance of certain scenes you've made, not in this film, but in general. You'll watch films, you'll watch streaming shows where the point has been made. Move on.
Yes.
But then there's other times where scenes are allowed to breathe and there's this kind of organic feel to them, and they easily could have sped up Somerset's, banging through the books in the library and made that, bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
But there was something quite satisfying about this slow, methodic, thoughtful research process that he was going through.
Well, because
it also contrasted so nicely with the chaotic, dummy practices of Mills.
And that's what, it's a slow scene. Nothing's really happening. He's reading and making notes. But it is a character point. You see in Somerset at work at his best.
Yeah.
And contrasted straight away. He's reading Dante's Inferno, whatever it is. And Mills is getting like study crib notebooks.
Yes. And he's getting the spark notes, but even that's too much for him, and he's banging.
And I love it because there was a time when I felt like this. When he just goes, "Fucking Dante."
Yes.
I think we've all been there, Mills.
I think so.
But that's a beautiful sequence, and that's where the color is at its richest, like you say, with the green shades of the lamps and the gold. Somerset's sort of haloed in gold almost as he reads all this horrendous stuff. That's giving him inspiration.
I mean, it's interesting because it's like, what is Fincher saying about the library? That is the one that seems to be, if you think about all the other set pieces that we see, this is the one place that is the nicest, the cleanest, the only place that isn't degenerative is the library.
It's not tainted by
the source of knowledge, the source of power.
Yeah, exactly. It's not tainted by all the horror from the outside. Yeah. Absolutely.
I find that interesting.
I find that interesting. It's not a point that's occurred to me actually until you've just said it, but that is true. That is true. It's a sort of sanctuary from it all, away from it all.
Yes. Intelligent people.
We've all been there.
Yes. Yes. Well, I think it's what I think. There's the kind of the meta commentary is it could be something along the lines of, the well-educated, those who seek knowledge, they aren't of that kind of world. They're not of a degenerative world.
No.
But not everyone has easy access to the knowledge, right? So there's this very interesting, kind of commentary that you can look at is you have this library, this source that is free and open to the public, and he goes there at night when it's closed, whatever. What is that place like during the day? Is it just as empty? Because everyone else is out in brothels and
everyone else is a Mills,
shooting up in alleys and stuff. Like what is going on? And are they like Mills? I mean, even the character of Tracy, she's out of place because it's so, even the private schools aren't good.
Yeah, the whole place is an absolute dog's breakfast of a place to live, and it's and she says, one of the most honest lines in this film is when she says, "I hate this city."
Yes. Yes. I mean, that is all that's there. There's nothing there but hate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, apart from in the library, right? it was this sanctuary. But even then, Somerset's he's there to look into and try and explain the horror and the evil of what he thinks is about to be unleashed, because he isn't certain at that point, is he? He's got an idea in his mind, he's got a theory.
Yeah.
And he goes to sort of, preempt it almost.
Yeah.
So great, marvelous stuff.
So on the cast, there obviously were some interesting alternatives that I think we should just briefly touch upon. We'll start with Morgan Freeman, who was obviously cast as Detective Somerset. Freeman was top choice. That is who they wanted. This was based on his roles in Driving Miss Daisy and The Shawshank Redemption. I mean, absolutely fair enough. I think he's fantastic in both of those. Morgan Freeman is just a fantastic actor.
He's a great actor, and this is one of my favorite performances.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Probably mine as well. It's so pitch perfect.
It's pitch perfect. He is the moral center of this losing battle.
Yes.
Of this city, and and he's doing his best. He's doing his best, and I love the fact that he can't wait to go, to leave.
Yes.
There's something quite endearing to me about the character of a cop or a lawyer, it might be, in fiction, where it's their last case and they just want it to be an easy one, but then they get sucked in and they can't let it go. I find that really compelling as a narrative device.
I do too.
Because the Holy Land is within reach. The Holy Land of retirement is in reach, and they just want an easy case to get them through the next 5 days, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he gets lumbered with this, and he even says, "This can't be my last one. I can't take this."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I find as a narrative device, that's a really compelling one.
I think so too. Now, obviously, Freeman has a fantastic performance, but we could have got 3 very different performances depending on which actor that they chose.
We sure could.
So they had the 3 people that were also considered were Al Pacino, Gene Hackman, and Robert Duvall. I don't know.
The only one I think I would certainly say I wouldn't want Al Pacino.
No.
Because I don't think we'd get that understated calm.
No, this is also right around Heat, isn't it?
Yeah, we get something pretty manic.
He's over the top in Heat.
Yeah, I think so. I reckon Gene Hackman would have been all right.
I think so.
I'm on the fence about Robert Duvall.
I am too.
I think
his Watson is just too bad.
His Watson is super. Yeah. I think it would depend what day it was, to be quite honest. Because I think if he did something like he does in Falling Down with Michael Douglas, where he's the cop in that, that could be quite interesting. That would have been quite interesting. But I think as a runner-up, I wouldn't have been sorry if Gene Hackman got the gig.
No,
I am glad that we've got Morgan Freeman because it's perfect.
Yes. Yeah, no, I am too. With Brad Pitt as Detective David Mills, he really wanted this role. So he fought really hard for it, but they had a couple other choices. One being Denzel Washington, which I really like that.
I like that.
Our boy Easy Rollins. I really like Denzel as an option for this very much.
And I think he regretted it in the end, didn't he? Because he turned it down, I think.
Yeah, he did call it a mistake.
Yeah. But I think he would have been excellent, and either with Freeman or with Hackman, I think what Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman would have been a pretty good.
That would have been a good version
pairing. I think it would have been equally good with those 2.
The thing that would have made this film tank like something tanking would be. I'm a writer. Is Sylvester Stallone? Was up for Mills and.
Just not too old.
It's not that he's too old. It's that I don't think Stallone has the chops for this kind of film.
Oh, I'm taking that for granted. There's a lot of things against Stallone for this. From that he's nowhere near good enough for what this role requires.
Yeah.
But for the type of person that Mills is, the cocky upstart, he's too old for it.
Yeah.
And I don't think we'd be talking about this film 30 years on, if, quite frankly, if it was Stallone and Al Pacino in the lead.
Yeah, I'm not sure it would be. I'm not sure. Probably not. I mean, again, this is around the Judge Dredd time.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a period! What a period for films. Seven, Dredd, Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
I think in terms of like physicality and things like that, and youthfulness, I do think Stallone could have been okay for it. But I just think, like I said, I don't think his. When I watch him even today in stuff where he's kind of being serious, there's that show on Paramount. What is it called? I don't even remember. He's some sort of like drug guy. It's just a little bit everything. He's just all a bit hammy. He's just hammy and everything.
He would have absolutely destroyed the "What's in the Box" sequence.
Yeah, what's in the box? Oh my God, what's in the box?
It would have just been too over the top, and he'd have been pulling the Rocky face.
You need to tell me what's in the box right now.
Yeah, and it'd be pulling the Rocky face, that sort of like lower lip thing. And I just think that would have been a terrible, terrible idea.
Now, interestingly enough, the studio were concerned about having a white man and a black man because of comparisons to Lethal Weapon. And I'm just thinking,
I read this.
How lazy.
Shallow
of a studio note. How shallow? That's it. How shallow do you have to be? No, this can't be a white guy and a black guy because we already got one of those films. We can't have another one of those films. Fucking hell.
I mean, you couldn't get further away from Lethal Weapon than these two, could you?
No, you can't. But also, just like how narrow-minded.
Oh, it's completely ridiculous.
Like, what are you talking about? Ugh.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous, and it's
definitely a white producer who said this. It was definitely white,
without doubt.
white
a male
head for sure.
Yeah, and male, obviously. quite a ridiculous thing to say. totally lazy thinking and narrow-mindedness, and just moronic.
Yeah. So I'm glad that didn't go through. Very interesting choices for John Doe, played by Kevin Spacey. First off, I think it's really interesting that Kevin Spacey kept his name off intentionally in order to lean into the mystery of who the killer was. I think that's really cool. If you're not paying attention and you see this for the first time, you know nothing about it. When he pops up as the killer, you're like, because that was my first watch of it, was on DVD in my teens. I didn't clock that Kevin Spacey was in this movie, and then when he turns up at the end as the bad guy, I'm like, that's Kevin goddamn Spacey. What's he doing in this movie?
And what he said is, if you've got two big names as the cop duo, I'm paraphrasing. If you've got two big names as a cop duo, and then there's a third big name on the poster, the chances are going to be, they're the killer. So who the killer is in this is not really important, is it? It's not a whodunit. This. Yeah. So I think Kevin Spacey made an intelligent choice here.
I think
and a right choice, because I think it's only right that his name comes, although the credits roll backwards at the end. His name is first, because I think he deserves a credit on his own for having the integrity and the guts to say
Kevin Spacey and integrity in the same sentence.
I know, yeah. Well, this was 1995.
He was still a creep back then, I think.
We didn't know, though, did we?
We didn't know.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Well, say artistically having the integrity.
Yes. Integrity. Yes.
Because he said the same thing as Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. He said, if you put my name in the credits, I'm walking.
Yeah.
And it was a deal breaker for him. He said, and they wanted him, so they went with it. And they were right to do so, because that's like Psycho in reverse for me. The effect that has is Psycho in reverse, when suddenly,
it's a really good comparison. It is like
this
that
big name appears with only half an hour of the movie to go.
Yeah,
that pulls the same rug out from under you as the big star being killed off 20 minutes in. It without a doubt does, because you think, well, where are we going to go now?
Because also in the 90s, again, we're talking 90s. We're talking there's no internet. Yes, there are tabloids. Yes, there are things out there, but general public won't have as of immediate access to like Twitter that's spoiling everything left, right, and center. So you'll get some word of mouth like, oh my, Kevin Spacey in this film. Do you know that? I didn't know that. I can imagine that was some of the reaction that people were getting when they were coming out, and then telling other people, then other people going to see it because of the what's in the box and the villain reveal. Like that
a lot of all that stuff. That stuff. But when your killer is revealed with half an hour to go, I think most people will say, well, what's left to say? What's going to happen in the next half hour?
Yeah,
because we know who's done it now. And to a lot of people, finding out who the killer is the whole point.
Yes,
but not in this film. In this film, there's a really big sucker punch coming.
Yeah.
So I think narratively it's a brilliant move, and I think artistically it's a brilliant move to not have his name attached to it. I think it's
definitely.
another great decision in this film.
Now, we had other people were in line for this part. Fincher wanted Ned Beatty to play John Doe because he resembled the sketches of the Zodiac killer. And of course, interesting, Fincher goes on to do Zodiac.
Yeah, well, I can't see it. I can't see the resemblance myself.
When I looked at I didn't think so either. I'm missing something because I'm not seeing it.
Perhaps you have to look at Ned Beatty as a very young man. I mean, I don't know, but I couldn't see it in Ned Beatty in 1995.
No, he turned it down. He said he called the script the most evil thing I've ever read.
Yes, he did.
Which it is. It's a very mean story. It is. I get it. Let's see. Michael Stipe of REM, the rock band REM, was heavily considered but couldn't do it because of tour dates. I don't know how that would have gone down. I really don't.
I don't think that would have worked somehow myself.
Nope. But... and apparently Val Kilmer was also considered.
Now, I think that would have been interesting.
I like Kilmer. I think that would have...
Yeah, I think that would have been something...
He's got the chops. He's got the chops for this.
Yeah, I think he has. And I think he would have done something... I think he would have made John Doe perhaps more charming than he is. Than he comes across when he's Spacey. I think he would have done something quite interesting with it, to be quite honest.
Yes.
Because this is before Batman, isn't it? This is before his Batman.
This is the year of Batman.
Is it the same year?
Yeah, 1995. Batman Forever, baby. Oh. This is the year. I'm sure there was a Rocky film at this time. We got Seven. We've got Judge Dredd. We've got Batman Forever. What a time to be alive.
So, I mean, I think Kilmer is a good choice. I think Kilmer's a good choice.
Do you think Kilmer would have had the Anthony Hopkins effect, though? Because Kevin Spacey plays is so just disgustingly creepy and slimy.
Yeah, I think he might have done.
Yeah.
I think he might have done. I think he... I mean, it's all speculative, isn't it? We don't know, but it may well have diluted it a little bit. But Kilmer is so good. I think Kilmer's very underrated. I think he made some bad decisions in the films he made along the way. Yeah. And he's very underrated. But I think he would have done something, it would have been a different film by all means.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have been quite as pantomimey as Anthony Hopkins is.
Probably not. No.
But there would certainly have been an element of charm, I think, to John Doe. Which I think certainly wouldn't have the same effect. It wouldn't have as much of a chilling effect on me. Yeah. But I think the whole plan that unfolds would still work with a charming killer as well as
I can see that. Now for Tracy, Gwyneth Paltrow played Tracy. Yeah. Very, very, very nicely done. Robin Wright was considered. She would have potentially been all right. I could see that. Yeah. Christina Applegate, again, would have been great, but rejected it before Paltrow got the gig. Christina Applegate, I could see that. She's got that cute blonde. You could see her as a cute blonde from a small town, possibly.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
But I do think Paltrow, I mean, she's the one in the film, so who's to say? But I kind of don't want to imagine anyone else in this role. Where I'm kind of interested in looking at Freeman's and Pitt's, characters being swapped. But Paltrow.
I
just
think she's
has
right.
That she just has that mousy, small, Midwestern, small town girl vibe that I don't know if the other two have as well, because they're all three beautiful women. Christina Applegate might have been a little bit too beautiful.
Yeah, I was just going to say she might be a bit too.
Like she's stunning, so she might have been a bit too maybe too good for Brad Pitt.
Too good for Brad Pitt in this. Yeah. Because I think that's part of Tracy's character. I think she is quite plain, isn't she? She's quite sort of.
She's the local school teacher.
She's the school teacher, yeah, and she's the girl next door.
Yeah,
and I think she looks at Mills as like a great catch and punching above her weight. And although
he made me laugh. Yeah,
and I think Christina Applegate is too good looking to pull that off, really.
Yes, yes, they would have needed someone a little bit. I don't know. I'm just glad that Paltrow got it. I think she's definitely the right
overall in the casting
kind of role.
Overall in the casting, I think we got the right people.
Yeah.
But like you say, I can imagine alternate reality and still liking this film with some of the people that were in the running.
Yeah. I sort of wonder if
Robin Paltrow is right.
Yeah, I wonder if Robin Wright was sort of in this running because of Forrest Gump or something. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
That's kind of small town girl, blonde small town girl.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
But cool. Let's dive into the story in a bit more depth. There's so much to like about this, but one of the things I want to mention right off the bat is I just want to talk about the relationship between the Millses, between Tracy and David, because I love this. I love kind of what they represent. I love these two townies moving to the big city because the guy, Pitt's character Mills thinks he really wants to be big shit. And he's gone as far as he can get in his small town life. And so his big dreams are, I want to go to the biggest, nastiest city and be a big, tough guy there. And I love that question. I love the question someone said, ask, why here? And
why
like,
here?
I thought I should do some good. And I question that. I'm like, is it because you want to do some good?
No.
Because
he wants to be in the thick of it.
Your wife.
Yeah. No, he wants to be in the thick of it, and he wants like dirty cases, and he wants the tough cases. He wants the nasty cases.
Yes.
He's so eager for this case. And he goes ballistic when Somerset says, "This can't be my last case, and it can't be his first."
Yes.
And this is a great bit of interaction. This where he says he's not ready for it, and Mills goes off on one saying, "You can say that shit to me face," and he looks at him in the eyes and says, "You're not ready for it."
I love it. Yes.
Great character work. Great character work.
And then the captain tells Mills to shut up.
To shut up. And I like it, when they're shaving to do the wire, how they've moved on, because then they're laughing and joking with each other. It's just beautiful stuff.
Yes,
but no, he's not come here to do good. No, he's come here to see the worst in people.
Yes.
That's what he's come here for. Almost purely selfish reasons. Because I get the impression that she didn't want to come.
No, she definitely didn't. Definitely.
No. You can imagine him in their sort of small town. And him saying, it'll be great. We'll live in the city. It'll be exciting. And they're saying, but I like it here. I like it here.
It's safe here. Our lives are happy here.
Yeah.
Why would we move? And even their house, their apartment, it's right next to it, underneath the subway, and everything rattles and shakes. And they've got dogs. Why do they bring their giant dogs? That's
exactly.
Think of dog piss, and it's just everything about it is crummy. And like you feel it. You feel it with Tracy.
Yeah, you do feel it
when she's just like, I don't know anyone. I'm so lost. I'm so lonely. These schools are shit. The private schools are shit. I hate this city. And it's like, you've been dragged to hell. And
you've been dragged to hell. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, this
against
is
your wishes.
And this is why, again, this kind of this noir element of what the city represents. And this is just the this is every dirty, mean, nasty noir city ever crammed into one, right? Like this is just what it is. And big cities, they can ruin people who aren't ready for them.
They weren't ready for them.
And that is sadly, that is what happens here with these people who, with the Mills. They are completely and utterly chewed up and spat out by the city.
By this city. Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that. I love the way that happens.
And they are what you said before about the perfect Chandler characters, in that they, or even to stretch a point a bit, the typical David Lynch characters, like we see in Mulholland Drive.
True.
They come to this town, this city, expecting big things, and it just annihilates them, and it just crushes them, and it just saps everything out of them. Yeah. And Mills is instantly sort of smacked down and belittled, and she's lonely. And the only thing that's tying these people together is this horrendous series of murders.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is, we talk about noir being about fate and stuff, and, fate sort of kicking you in the nuts. But my God, it in spades in this film. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh my God.
And no wonder Mills can't wait. That Somerset can't wait to get out of it, and go to his little retirement cabin or whatever it is that he talks about.
Yeah.
What a city.
I know. It's tough. And I think kind of going back to the dinner scene at David and Tracy's house, when right before that, when Mills and Somerset are going to share an office for a few days, right? And she calls up and he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, my wife wants to talk to you," and hands the phone over to Somerset. And you see the kind of that look of like, what? Because he's being asked to dinner at their house. And I don't know what she says. We don't know what she says to win him over, to get him to come to dinner. No, it must be it must be something that tugs at his heart a little bit, because something like, well, we don't really know anyone. You're the only person we know. We would love to get to know you, but something. It was something. It had to be something like that. Oh well, in that case, I would love to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it will be something like that, won't it? And it might be something that shows Mills isn't quite as tough as he's pretending to be.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But he goes nevertheless.
Yes. But it's also it's this thing where it's like that is your first hint of you think it's Tracy trying to do something sweet to bring these two guys together, but it's Tracy reaching out for connection. Yeah. Because she knows nobody, and she's just stuck in this dirty ass flat with these dirty ass dogs in this dirty ass, constantly rainy, shaky place. Like, it's just awful.
Yes, total shithole.
It is. And this is kind of really the only moment in the film where there is a moment of levity, where the train shakes the flat, and then they all just start busting. First, Somerset starts laughing, and they all kind of start following along, because it's so absurd. It's like, why are we putting ourselves through this? For what? Yeah. For what?
And it is funny when Somerset cracks up, you do laugh along. But I like the little exchange between Mills and Tracy, where Mills says, "We wondered why the estate agent wouldn't stay for longer than 5 minutes," and then she just says, with a real resigned tone of voice, "We found out on the first night." Yes. And then he just absolutely pisses himself.
Yes.
It's a nice little vignette, great little moment.
Yes. Followed shortly after by the scene where Tracy calls Somerset, and she's like, I need to talk to someone. And again, and this is why I think Paltrow just nails this, because she just is able to play that quiet, sad, lonely figure in a way that is, it's just expertly done, I think. And that bit when she just says, I don't know anyone. Yeah. Like, if you've ever moved to a big city, that's hard relatable,
It certainly is.
First move to Manchester, first move to London. That's daunting. You don't
Yeah,
know anybody. You're like, am I going to ever have friends again?
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
scary.
Yeah. Who do I talk to? And in this city, who would you want to talk to?
Oh, exactly. Exactly. And then I mean, and the diner scene is another sort of wonderful scene because I love the tension or the uncomfortableness of Somerset. You know, he thinks he's trying to do, he is trying to do good. He is literally trying to do good by hanging out with her and speaking to her. And then she drops this bomb of I'm pregnant. And this is where Somerset's character gets really interesting. And he talks about this relationship that he had and that they got pregnant and I wore her down until she got an abortion because you don't raise a kid in this city.
Yeah.
You do not see him in the same light again.
You don't see him in the same light again. But do you? The answer to this is you move away, don't you?
Yes.
If you think that you shouldn't raise a child in this city, you transfer to another department elsewhere.
Yeah,
you don't
or
do what someone said.
or you're trapped. You feel trapped by the city somehow.
Yeah, you get out. You get out quick. But you don't do what someone said did.
No. And that line, I wish I made a different choice.
Yeah.
You know. Damn.
I mean, redemption in inverted commas comes with that line, doesn't it? Because he knows that he was a piece of shit.
Yes, yeah. You know, he
think he believed at the time he was doing the right thing in saying, we can't bring a child into this, you know.
Yeah. Well, again, if you compare them to David and Tracy, they're young. They probably have very little money. You know, moving it literally might not be an option.
Well, it might not be possible. That is a good point. It might not be possible.
You know, so he thought, I've got to do the best I can to wear her down because this is not going to end well.
Yeah. And, you know, maybe he sort of he'll see all the horror of it, but keeps her safe from it. I get the impression that Somerset is one of those.
Yeah.
Leaves his, like Thursday in Endeavour. He leaves the job at the door, but it's always gnawing away at him.
Yeah.
To protect his family from it. In this case, his wife. And but when when they're going to bring a new life into it, an innocent life into it, he can't handle it, and he has to start telling her something of the truth, maybe, you know. But it makes him, because he is in danger, isn't he, Somerset? He is in danger of being a saint.
Yes.
And I think this is a necessary injection of wickedness.
Yeah.
To make him rounded. And and then what I like is that he doesn't lose his compassion or empathy or whatever it is completely, because he has been living in regret for all those years.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we said, like everyone to some degree is some kind of is doing something shitty. And I mean, with Paltrow's character, with Tracy, she's not confiding in her husband.
No, only he says, doesn't he?
She's not telling him the truth. That is her act of shittiness.
You know? Yeah. And he says, doesn't he, Somerset, you shouldn't be talking to me about this.
Yes. Because if they were still living in their small town, honey, I'm pregnant would have come up straight away.
Yeah.
But here in this hellhole, she's afraid. And well, I don't know if it's fear or not, but there's a motive to not want to say it yet because it's scary, because raising a kid in this place is a terrible idea.
She feels the same as Somerset felt.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, because I think you hit the nail on the head when you said the innocent bit, because everyone in this town is guilty of something.
Yeah.
And a newborn is innocent of all of it. Why would you bring something like that into this arena of utter corruption?
Utter corruption, yeah. and it's not just corruption, is it? It's just filth. You know, I mean, it's corruption, yes, and it's dangerous and it's violent and it's psychotic, this city. But it's also just on a basic human cleanliness level, filthy and rotten and you know, foul.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to live in that, do they? Nobody wants to live in those conditions. So why would you actively choose to bring somebody into them? You know, that's...
I know, exactly.
Yeah,
Should we briefly talk about the 7 deadly sins?
Yes, I think. Well, we better add, haven't we?
I mean, we don't. It's one of those things where it's like you know, you don't need to spend a lot of time going through every single one and what the things were. You know, I think there's some that are more iconic than others.
Yes.
I think the first one and the last two are by far the most iconic. The first one being the gluttonous guy.
Yes. Yes.
The last two being the head,
Yes.
or the the head and the head of the box, and possibly the guy who kills the stripper with kills the hooker with the knife strap. That is
when I said it at the opening of this episode, when I said it leaves things to the imagination.
Yeah.
That is the one I'm thinking of. That is the major one I'm thinking of.
Absolutely.
Because this is down to that magnificent performance, one scene performance, pretty much.
Yes.
By an actor whose name I'm not going to remember, Leland Orser.
Yeah.
That is. I can still remember watching that in the theater, thinking, "My God, this is incredible stuff." You know, and believing every word he says.
Yeah, well, he kept himself awake for like 3 days to film this scene.
Yeah. And didn't eat or anything, and you know, and was sort of he was half delirious, wasn't he, when he filmed?
Yeah.
To be that nervous, but when you all you need to see is the picture of it.
Yeah.
That Polaroid of it.
Jesus, yes.
And when I talked about the psychopathy of John Doe, to have that idea. That is far scarier, and to carry it out. That to me is far scarier than Hannibal Lecter using a man's face as a mask.
Oh, you know? Yes, it's more horrific. I mean? Yeah,
much more horrific. Much more horrific.
Yes,
because it's who thinks of something like that.
Yeah. Writer of the movie.
The writer of the movie. I was just going to say, poor old Walker. You know?
It is sad New York, you know.
It is sad New York flat, yeah. But that's the one I talked. That's the one I meant when I said that the imagination is worse than what you see. But the collective gasp is when the bloke tied to the bed, the emaciated bloke tied to the bed, turns out to be alive.
Yes.
The reaction to that in the cinema, and I'm not really a big lover of, certainly in American cinemas where everyone's cheering at the screen and whooping and stuff, but it was undeniable the effect that one moment had on however many people fit in a cinema theater. It was collective, a jump, screams, and gasps.
Yes. I sort of wondered if this had any sort of influence on the Dexter books, because the second Dexter novel, it doesn't do the same thing. It's not someone who's kind of emaciated like that, but there is the killer in that book brings his victims close to death by, you know, chopping off limbs but letting it heal to, you know, to be, and then sort of shaves off skin, and they're basically just barely alive. They look like they're dead, but they're just barely alive. There's nothing left of them, but like that guy. And I sort of wondered if that had any influence on Jeff Lindsay.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an iconic moment. It turns up all the time in, you know, MTV's 100 scariest moments in cinema and whatever.
Yes,
it's always in countdowns like that, because and rightly so. But I would agree. So, but I don't. It's a jump scare. That's really all that is, and it doesn't do to me what the knife thing does.
No,
or making a man eat himself to death.
Yeah. I think what I appreciate about the use of the 7 deadly sins is that it's so easy and also so cliched to use biblical text as the motive for the serial killer or the killer to do something. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
And it's rare when it feels justified or well handled.
Yes.
And not in your face. Yes. And I think I think in this instance, it is the rare opportunity, it is the rare moment where it is not in your face. It's not used as some sort of religious fanatic or anything like that. It's just this John Doe is just using this as his method, and it's not rooted in some deranged religious belief of his,
no.
which I appreciate. But
yeah, so do I.
I also appreciate his reasoning for it. Because when he's like, when they're in the car and they're driving out to the middle of nowhere, and he's like, why are you doing this? There's the fat guy. Why'd you do it to the fat guy? And he's like, and his whole explanation, if you saw that guy on the street, you saw that the way that guy eats, you'd be pointing and you'd be laughing and you'd be saying, oh, what a sicko. What he's doing is disgusting. And that's his sort of motive, to say this guy is being gluttonous and he's being disgusting. And it is that sin of gluttony that
he's
it is
using
a sin.
It,
he's using their sins. And
he's using their sins against them.
And I like that sort of motive that they give to John Doe, because it makes it feel, it grounds his motive in a way that could easily be taken for granted or have been less.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Very often these sort of biblical, for want of a better word, serial killers, they often turn out to be deranged priests, or you know what I mean? Something like that. And really the motive here is to say to society, you are riddled with sin and you are all liars and cheats and hypocrites. It's making a social point. It isn't just a motive for a psycho. It's making a point about people, and people were starting to get self-obsessed with themselves in the 90s.
They've always been self-obsessed, but yes.
Yeah, well, it was becoming increasingly prominent and obvious.
Yes.
And he is right.
Yeah.
He is right when he says, when he kills the lawyer and he says, this is a man who lies and cheats and gets murderers, for money.
Yes. Yeah.
And he says to the both of them, don't think for a minute I didn't think you were cheering, when I did that one, because we know that cops don't like lawyers.
Yes. Yes. Well, again, Seven does the thing that is so good about villains, and that is they're the hero of their story.
Yeah.
That's the best, most compelling hero or villain, is when they think they're the hero of their story.
Yeah, and John Doe definitely does.
Yes.
But what I like about, I also like the way in the end, we'll talk about the end later perhaps, but just to preface it, that the play, he almost has to sort of improvise the last, because very often they try and complete their sort of canon of works, these serial killers in fiction that are doing this sort of thing.
Yes.
But in this one, the plan sort of changes and it becomes much more powerful for it, so that it drags everyone else into it. And that is, he's right when he says, John Doe is right in the back of the car when he says, when all this is revealed, you will be in awe of it. Yeah. And I thought, even watching it today for, I don't know, the 10th time, I thought, I am in awe of this plan. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, I think I like it because it, in my opinion, it kind of subverts the expectations,
Yeah.
When you watch these serial killer storylines, I love the show Dexter. It's great. Every season is something along the lines of they're escalating. It's escalating. We got to do it before it's escalating. It's escalating. And yes, there's absolutely an element of escalation in Seven. We know that he's using the 7 deadly sins. We know these are going to happen. This is what's going, blah 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 blah. But it's the gamble that John Doe takes.
Yeah, definitely.
He knows he has the idea that if I murder Tracy, I can probably get wrath out of Mills and completely and utterly destroy him.
And if I become envy, that's a worthy sacrifice.
Yes. Yes.
I will be the last victim.
Yes. And so I that to me is like, that works really well. And also it works in that martyrdom aspect. It works in sort of subverting the expectations of how he's going to do these things. Because you would imagine that the wrath envy thing would be some sort of play out between Mills and Somerset. But they don't do that. But that could have very easily been the cliched thing to have done, is these two guys become the last two deadly sins. No, it's this poor woman is the victim that creates the last two deadly sins.
It creates the last two, yeah.
And whew.
And I love it that, talking about the escalation, it addresses that very subtly in this film. And it's very early on. When, for me it is anyway, it's when Somerset has cracked that it's the 7 deadly sins he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he says in the police chief's office, you can expect 4 more of these.
Yeah.
So then it becomes...
And then he walks out. He's like, wait, what?
And he walks off. Yeah.
I'm going to go sit in my desk now.
So it becomes a ticking clock then.
Yes.
So you get, when's the next one? Which one's it going to be? And how bad's it going to be? So it sort of deals with it in that line for me. But also, I think John Doe is absolutely right when he says to Mills, I delivered myself to you. You would never have caught me. And he starts taunting him with, what great bit of evidence did you have that was going to lead to me? So he could have carried on. Essentially, you're saying, I could have carried on way beyond the 7 deadly sins if I wanted.
Yeah.
Because you were never going to get me. And, too often in these sort of serial killer thrillers, they cotton on to the last clue just in time, but
to stop the last victim.
Save the last one. These two were never getting to the bottom of this case. They were never going to find John Doe, ever.
No. And I think
that is an even more terrifying prospect.
Yeah, I think the reveal of John Doe when he walks into the police station, detective,
yeah.
And he's covered in blood,
and he says, "You're looking for me."
Such a wonderful bit of trickery there, because they've just found Pride. They found the woman with whose face he's mutilated, and they're like, "This was done recently." And then he walks in, and he's covered in blood. You think that is her blood?
Yeah.
He has just killed Tracy.
Isn't it beautiful?
And you're like, oh my God, that was her blood. Isn't that
beautiful?
My God.
Yeah.
Scary. But
totally scary.
But what an introduction. And these last 30 minutes that Spacey's in this film, it's a shame that he's such a fucking pervert. Allegedly, but not allegedly, because he's such a great actor, and it's such a shame when great talent is also greatly problematic.
Flawed.
Because what a performance, what a creep of a character, what a element of just unpredictable chaos and fear. Yeah, just his presence brings.
He's noir. He's noir, isn't he? He is just an act of chaos. I mean, you can talk about Heath Ledger's Joker, but this is the original. This is the original agent of chaos.
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah,
and I love the fact that I love I laugh out loud at Mills's insults because they're so worthless in the wake of when he said you're a fucking t-shirt. He says and. Yesterday's news or something, he says, and a full-blown wacko or something. You think you're getting nowhere, and he's just taking all this abuse because it means nothing, because what he's achieved is just like beyond comprehension almost,
Yes.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the ending now as well, because I mean, so he's driven them out to the middle of nowhere. They're out there. Suddenly his van speeds up, blah, blah, blah. Everyone listening has seen this film. You've not seen this film. You're not listening to this. I'm not seeing this film. If you haven't, I don't know what you're doing here. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. But that whole moment where John Doe is on his knees and Mills has the gun and Somerset's opening the box. He's getting freaked out and John Doe is just taunting. He's done nothing but taunt Mills since they got in the car. Like you're saying, those insults that Mills is throwing, they're not going anywhere.
No.
But the things that John Doe is saying to Mills, those are the things that are creeping in, because he's a reckless, loose cannon.
Yeah. And he says somewhere, he says along the line something like, I can't wait for you to understand.
Yeah.
That is a really you want to get hold of him, don't you, and say, well, what have you done? What have you done?
Yes.
And it's that cold, cruel patience of
Yes.
these psychopaths have.
Yes. And that line, when, I took a souvenir, her pretty head.
Yeah.
That's just menace.
Yeah.
Followed
After
very quickly. I was gonna say, followed very quickly by, she begged for her life and for the baby inside her. And then he didn't know.
Yeah. But he looks at Somerset as if to say, but you did.
Yes.
That's just oof.
Maybe one of the best on-screen villains of all time.
Of all time. Absolutely.
We've not had all time yet, but I'm going to use that for a turn of phrase.
Well, yeah, we've not had all time yet, but yeah, I know what you mean. But and so believable. When you read about these sort of people.
Yeah.
This really is how they come across to me.
Yes.
Especially the ones that think they are something special. They do come across like this.
Yes.
In the books that you read, the interviews you read and see these days. But yeah, I can't wait for you to understand. It's just so chilling.
Yes. And I love that tension at the end, because as you, the audience member, you're thinking Mills isn't going to kill him. He's gonna throw the gun down and put the handcuffs on him, and justice will be served.
Well, you think? Well, I thought the first time, again, I remember this. The first time I watched it, I thought in the cinema, this is the bit. This is where Mills and Somerset become the detective partnership. This is where Somerset talks him down, tells him to believe in himself, tells him to believe in what he stands for. And Mills is going to become the hero after being.
You came here to do good. You came here to do good. Remember that.
Yeah, you came here to do good. You believe in something. You've got all this. And Mills has been this jerk all the way through.
Yes.
And this is going to be his moment of redemption. And I thought it's going to happen.
And then he just unloads.
And does it long after. What gets me is not the shot to the head.
Yeah.
It's the 5 that come after it.
Yes. It's the to quote Mission Impossible 2, getting your gun off.
Yeah.
That is what it is, and it's brutal. It's brutal because
it is brutal.
Morgan Freeman, or Somerset rather, is just, he is trying so hard, and then when he shoots, he's just like, ugh. And there's a wonderful foreshadow to it. There's a wonderful foreshadow when they break into John Doe's house or flat, that right? Where Mills just can't fucking listen, and he kicks the door in, and Somerset's like, God damn it. And then what does Mills do? What does Mills do? He pays off some druggie to excuse their behavior.
Yeah.
Mills being, again, a piece of shit and getting into the corruption of things. Why would he do the right thing in the end? Why would he?
Why would
his wife has just been murdered?
Absolutely. But there's a moment where I always think he's thinking about doing the right thing, and Somerset is talking, and it's when say what you like about Brad Pitt. I think he's ace in this film. And
no, Brad Pitt is a good actor. When he says he's not, is ridiculous. He's a good actor.
Yeah, it's when he says, "Oh God."
Yes.
And I think he's not saying, "Oh God," at what's happened to Tracy and the baby. He's saying, "Oh God," about the choice he's got to make here.
Yeah.
And I always think he's wavering, and then he just, and the way that there's a close up of his face, and you sort of see him come back to, he's drifted off, and he comes back, and he does something with his eyes that makes you think, oh, he's snapped back into the moment, and that's when he does it. And I think he's off thinking, what do I get if I do the right thing? I get nothing.
Yeah.
But now I get vengeance.
Exactly.
Well, and
feel my
not quietly, but lost in all that. What's in the bag and all that business? Is Morgan Freeman saying, if you shoot him, he wins.
Yes. And
this is why I say it's a great noir ending, because
exactly.
Somerset is completely helpless.
Yeah.
If you say if Somerset is the primary PI, he is helpless because fate is about to play its cards, and there's nothing that any of them can do about it.
No,
that's noir to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you give this a happy ending, then you kind of have that problem that The Big Sleep has, where it's like either the film, not the book,
the film,
where it's like, wait, okay, we're all happy and laughing at the end, ha 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 ha. No, the noir needs this. Noir needs at most a bittersweet ending.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
You can have a glimpse of hope, but it's been achieved through bittersweetness. There's something always bitter about the ending of Noir, and
put it another way.
I mean, you could have you could say the bittersweetness would be Tracy's dead, but he does the right thing. But that could have worked, that could have happened. But the trajectory of this film, what its whole message is. The only ending that really works that it satisfies this narrative is Mills has to go that far, because this is all about the success of the villain.
Yeah, it is, and everything. It's one of those endings where you do think, although you could play around with what else might have happened, there really is only one true ending to this film, and it goes back to what we said at the beginning. Freeman was right, and Pitt was right. If this isn't the ending, the film's not worth making to me.
Yeah.
No, that's a bit too much. It would be worth making, but it would just become another routine 90s thriller.
Yeah. It wouldn't have the impact or the legacy, I think, that it has.
The legacy, no. And I think it's such a good ending, and it's such the right ending, and it's performed brilliantly and shot brilliantly. That it's like the icing on a really good cake, whereas if you don't have it, you've just got a good cake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It all works in tandem with itself. It's just, I think it's a spectacular piece of work.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely right that Doe's plan works, and succeeds. And Mills has now got to live with the fact that he was Wrath and will always be Wrath.
Yeah. And will he end up in jail for what he did? I don't know.
Well, does he end up in jail? Does he end up in jail? I mean, probably, doesn't he?
Who knows? Who knows?
And if he's anything about him, he'll be thinking, if I'd not dragged Tracy here, and if we'd stayed in that little Midwestern town, none of this would have happened.
Exactly. If I hadn't been a sheriff of the county or whatever. Bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. Instead I came to, and again, it's the city. The city's worked its magic on everyone.
Yeah. It's very true. Very true. Yeah, geez. Do you have any dislikes? Which is probably hard to say because there's so many dislikable things, but I guess the caveat is like not. It has to be like, is there a in a film where you
dislike everything?
Yeah, is there a narrative beat that you dislike, or a scene that you dislike? Is there something like that you dislike? I don't think I have any. I don't
think I've got any. No,
I wrote something down, but I'm not going to talk about it because it's to do with the character of Mills. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, well, this is a film about nasty people from start to finish. So he's doing and saying things that are nasty and problematic. But that is because he is actually just that kind of person. So it's not a dislike of the film. It's just that is his person, and I don't think we're really meant to overly like Mills either. I think we're meant to relate to Freeman, and the audience is more Freeman than they are Mills.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think you're meant to think Mills is a hot-headed, irritating pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And that is what I think.
Yeah.
because if you don't think that, the ending has no punch.
No.
Because I feel sorry for him at the end. He's got me at the end, because I would never want to be in that position. Who would, for crying out loud?
Yeah.
But up until that point, he has been a jerk, and your Freeman is the cipher, if you like. He's the character that takes you through it, that carries you through it. And Mills is like the cocky sidekick that you're not meant to have any sort of liking for. Although he does make me laugh. He does make me laugh.
Yes.
Like when he says the line when he says, just because he reads a couple of books, it doesn't make him Yoda. Yeah. I love that line. And I also love the fact that you can see, whether it's Spacey or not, you can see the character of John Doe all the way through. Not just as the journalist, but he's outside the sex shop, and he's often outside. He's walking in the street in the background. If you look for him, and I just love touches like that are there for 99% of people to miss. But the filmmakers do it because it's genuine. I don't think there is anything about this this film that I dislike. I agree. You're meant to dislike most of the things in it. Yeah. But on purpose, that they want you to dislike those things.
Yeah. On that note, should we rate it?
Yeah, one falcon.
one falcon. Well, as everyone knows, we rate all of our films out of 5 falcons, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Matt, what would you rate 7 by David Fincher?
It's a 5 for me.
Yeah, it's a 5 for me as well. It's a fantastic film. Go see it. If you don't own it. It's worth it.
Own it, see it. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, I don't know where you've been, but you must go and watch it somewhere.
Yeah, and if you've listened to this much of the episode and you've still not seen it, again, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah, but watch it anyway.
Yes, but a great film to celebrate for its 30th anniversary.
Absolutely, and here's to another 30 years of it. I think it's, and I'm surprised how little it dated, to be quite honest.
It dates, but in other areas, it dates in the way Mills speaks to some degree. With certain, he says a lot of homophobic slurs that do sort of date it in a very 90s. He used the R word, used the F word,
Yeah, well, yes,
but generally, overall, those are it's dated in that regards. But in terms of like, technology and things like that, there's so little use of technology and so much use of books and things that it doesn't feel as
and almost no product, if any, product placement. There's none of that.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe when they look at the guy, maybe the fat guy's place has some product placement. I'm not sure, but if it is, it's nicely hidden,
nicely conceived.
But generally speaking, no, it's not a dated film per se. But there are dated aspects.
If you look at Judge Dredd and you look at V.I. Wachowski from films from the same decade, it's not dated by comparison.
No, definitely not. It's aged well, but there are shades of its time period.
Yeah, I'll go.
I mean, particularly the opening credits; those are very, very 90s.
They are 90s. Yeah,
that's very 90s. Again,
you've not seen anything like that. When I went to see it at the Pit, in 1995 at the cinema, you'd not seen anything like that.
Yeah, with music by Howard Shore, by the way, the epic composer of The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and The Silence of the Lambs.
You're like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. Good score.
It is.
But anyway, it's a 5 from both of us. That's
yes. Any closing remarks?
No,
what we've already said.
I'll leave it a couple of weeks, then I'll probably watch it again. That's all I'll say.
Fair enough. Well, then I think we have thoroughly investigated 7. We can put the file away, put it back in the drawer. We have done this. It is done and dusted. I guess as always, if you can, like and subscribe, leave comments on Apple and ratings on Spotify. They really help us out. Like on YouTube and all that kind of crap, and subscribe and yada yada yada, the same spiel I say every week. That none of you do. Some of you do. Some of you do.
Some do.
But more of you do it. God damn it.
More of you do it, please. Yeah.
But anyway, we will be back next week with another case. So in the meantime, make sure to take care walking down those mean streets.